Autosomal dominant is something that we've seen. We'll try to solve for autosomal recessive. Now, this time, can you please help me sort of like break this down? What is autosomal? What is recessive? Right. So, if it is autosomal, it basically means what? So, I'm going to have 23 pairs, 22 pairs plus the last pair. It is going to be in the 22nd pair, in the first 22 pairs, or is it going to be the 23rd pair? Clearly, it is going to be the first 22 pairs if it is going to be autosomal disorder. What does it mean to have recessive wala thing? Please show previous T pedigree chart again. Okay, once again. Is this what you got, Vinod? Okay. So if we say recessive, it basically means what are the genotypes we can have? We can have a genotype that is capital D, capital D. Will it be affected? Okay, we can have a genotype of capital D, lowercase d, and then we'll have a combination of lowercase d, lowercase d. When we talk about recessive, it basically means that lowercase d is the disorder. Okay, so lowercase d is the disorder, right? So if you see this here, I have no disorder, capital D, and lowercase d is, okay, the one with the disorder. So what could be the different kind of genotypes I can have? I can have one genotype that is going to be capital D, or capital D, lowercase d, but both of which are going to code for capital D, okay, which is no disorder, so they are unaffected. Whereas when you have both the recessive alleles coming together, it is going to result in disorder. That is why, so, whenever you have consanguineous marriages, meaning marriages within the same group taking place, similar kind of gene pool is going to be there. So the chances of them carrying the same kind of alleles is a lot more. So if there is one person carrying an allele for, let us say, cystic fibrosis or alkaptonuria, okay, or phenylketonuria, okay, albinism, thalassemia, sickle cell anemia, and so on, the chances of the relative carrying this is a lot higher than, say, somebody who is outside the kinship circle. Does that make sense? Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now, similarly, so you have blanks in your page, so please fill it down. First one, cystic fibrosis. Okay. Second one, alkaptonuria. Third one, PKU or phenylketonuria. All of them are on the slide. Please note it down. Fourth one, albinism. Fifth one is thalassemia. And the last one is sickle cell anemia. We will see many of these things in a good amount of detail. Okay, most of these things we'll see in a good amount of detail. Autosomal recessive disorders, are like perfect examples for genetics. Okay, to see how genetics works. Okay, so what is cystic fibrosis? See, if cystic fibrosis is something that is going to affect primarily the lungs and the digestive sort of system. Okay, so that is that. This also is a inherited kind of a disorder. Second is alkaptonuria. Alkaptonuria is one of those things jahan pe there is some sort of a buildup in the body. Okay, so yahan pe, see, I don't know if you've ever heard. Okay, so it basically causes a person's urine to basically turn black. Okay, when it's exposed to sort of the air. Okay, so it is also called as black urine sort of a disease. This is also an inherited sort of a disorder, autosomal recessive disorder. Okay, you know and primarily because the body is not able to sort of prevent the it's not able to break down certain kinds of proteins. Okay, so we saw proteins, right? Proteins are what? Your amino acids, right? So whenever it is not able to break down, I believe it is one is phenylalanine and the other is triosine or something. Okay, so a couple of amino acids it's not able to break down. So because of this, it results in a buildup of certain kind of a chemicals. Okay, so that produces certain kind of acid in the body, thereby resulting in this black urine sort of a disease. Again, now this is it's a inherited sort of a disorder. Phenylketonuria, again, similar kind of thing. It's a rare disorder, inherited sort of a disorder. It is caused when a particular kind of an amino acid is not being broken down in the body, and that particular amino acid is phenylalanine. Okay, that is that. Albinism. So what is albinism? See, albinism is something that you must have heard. Okay, so now all of you can tell me what is the name of this in your own language. Okay, have you seen people who are Indian, meaning brown skinned, but they tend to have very light skinned? They tend to have very light skin. Okay, in their family they have darker skin, right? Sometimes it is like completely light skin, sometimes is light skin patches, right? So you have light skin sort of patches. Similarly, sometimes hair also does not have that melanin wala pigment, right? Similarly, even the eyes are basically very, 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 very light in color, right? You must have seen, right? This particular thing, okay, this is also caused because of lack of that skin pigment. It's also something that is running in the family types. Okay, इसको हम बोलते हैं albinism. So if you guys can give me the name in your language, that will be great. Similarly, you have thalassemia, sickle cell anemia. These are basically like blood-related disorders. That is again inherited blood disorders. Sickle cell anemia में क्या होता है is that instead of the red blood cell, the hemoglobin being like nice circular kind of a shape, it is going to be like crescent shaped. Okay, like new moon, not new moon. New moon basically means no moon at all, right? Let's say a few days wala moon. Okay, so that kind of a shape, which basically is not able to sort of like bind with a lot of oxygen. It is not able to carry. It is not able to sort of like move very easily within the blood vessels. Similarly, you have thalassemia also, which also creates this kind of an oxygen less oxygen carrying sort of protein. Okay, it also produces lead red blood cells than what is considered to be normal and healthy and so on. So these are basically the examples of disorders. Do you have to write about each and every one of these disorders? No, but know the names. Okay, but we will take a look at many of these. So what about us trying to sort of like arrive at a pedigree chart for this? Okay, so how do you start here? So what are the different kind of genotypes that you can have? You can have this particular genotype, which is a capital D, capital D. You can have this genotype, which is a capital D, lowercase d, which is heterozygous kind of a condition. You can have a lowercase d, which is like a homozygous for recessive kind of a this one. So who are the ones who are going to be affected? Clearly, only this is going to be affected. Okay, how many are unaffected? Let me just ask a very simple question. All of you guys, how many of these genotypes are unaffected? How many are unaffected and how many are affected? Okay, I think everybody got it right. They three. So I'll read a couple of answers. Okay, so two are affected. Okay, wonderful. Okay, only the first two are unaffected. Okay, great. Only lowercase d is affected. Okay, all of you guys are correct. Okay, so you've understood it completely till here. Okay, so wonderful. Okay, so these two are not affected, despite the fact that it has a lowercase d. The capital D is going to sort of override the lowercase d. It's going to overshadow the lowercase d. It is going to sort of like dominate over the lowercase d. Okay, perfect. Shreya also says, okay, capital D, not affected. Capital D, lowercase d. Okay, okay. So, and then lowercase d is affected. Great. Wonderful. Okay, so you have Gen 1, okay, and Gen 2. So I'm giving you a combination of capital D and lowercase d. So you have this combination in the first one that I want you to meet, and then with this, okay. So in the second generation or the third generation, you basically will cross the lowercase d with the capital D, capital D. So can you please quickly try to draw a same sort of a chart? Two in the first generation, okay, and second generation you basically have four, and third generation you have four. Okay, यहाँ पे I've given you what to cross, and यहाँ पे I've given you what to cross. Okay, and net you have to give me what is uh, uh, the chart. Okay, what do you get here? Okay, so you have to give me what all do you get here. Hmm? So quickly you can do it. Let's see who's the quickest to sort of draw this and give me the four genotypes in the third generation. Or you can send me the pic of your pedigree chart if some of you can do it to the 6309 number. Okay, if you want to send it on Telegram as a picture, that is fine too. Okay, or if you want to chat here and just tell me which are the ones that you get in the third generation, if your combinations are going to be capital D, lowercase d, and lowercase d, and lowercase d with capital D in the first and second generation, respectively. Oh, by the way, did you guys draw the diagram? I hope you had enough time to sort of draw it for autosomal dominant. And based on this, maybe I'll ask you some questions as well. Okay, Vikram. So you have given a combination. Okay, let me see. Okay, Geeta has gotten it. Actually, I have to solve it. Only then I'll be able to tell you. But good that you have gotten Lavanya. Okay, right, right. So at least what you seem to have gotten is the same. So either you're all right or you're all wrong. So we'll have to see. Okay. So now that you guys have done, did everybody get it? Any questions? Does anybody need extra time? Or can I go and explain this? Okay, so here, if you see, so we start with the same sort of a thing. It could be a cystic fibrosis, it could be alkaptonuria, phenylketonuria, albinism, thalassemia, sickle cell anemia. It all works the same, right? So what you have here. So the only thing that you have to know is that capital D is unaffected, capital D lowercase t is unaffected, but it is basically carrying that recessive allele. Okay, and lowercase t, essentially what you have if D is a lowercase d is a problem allele, then this is the only genotype that is going to be affected. So in the first generation, I basically said capital D lowercase d with lowercase t. How many of you have gotten this capital D lowercase d, which you would basically shade it this way, and then lowercase t this particular manner. Okay, now what do? You basically draw a Punnett square for the combination. Now even here, this is correct, okay, because capital D lowercase d on top, male, okay, and the female should be on this side. So capital D lowercase t. So you're going to have a combination of two heterozygous combination, and the other two are going to be homozygous recessive. So capital lowercase d, um, maybe a capital D lowercase t here. Okay, I would rather have kept this one on this end. Okay, but it's all the same. I think it is also because you want to take a lowercase t and cross it with a, or mate it with a capital D capital D. So you're basically crossing it this particular manner. So what would be the Punnett square to get the next one? So you could get a combination of capital D lowercase d, capital D lowercase d, capital D lowercase d, capital D lowercase d. So essentially it means that every single person in the last generation is going to be having a genotype of capital D lowercase t. Now let me ask you a question. How many are affected in the third generation? How many are affected in the third generation? Vinod says zero. Is Vinod right? All are recessive. They are just carriers. All are carriers. Zero. Okay. 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 So seems like everybody is getting the answer. Okay. So essentially nobody is affecting here, but almost everybody is basically having one lowercase d. Okay, which basically means that you're not affected. Okay, you may not have, let's say it's albinism. Okay, it doesn't mean that you have albino or less pigments, but it is somewhere lurking in that particular family. Okay, it is not expressed yet, but let's say somebody here. Okay, so let us say that this girl, okay, she ends up marrying one of her maternal uncles who basically also has this kind of a combination. The chances of this expressing in the next generation is going to be a lot more. Okay, it is going to be a lot more. In fact, kitna hoga, that also you can basically calculate. Okay, so that is that. Is this clear so far? Any questions here? Do you want more practice or shall we move on?